and cooperating people in space. I hope you enjoy your trip through the rocket garden today. If you have any questions, I'll be here for
between the buildings, pad 40, where SpaceX does the Falcon 9. And just a week ago tomorrow, we saw Falcon 9 take off with a huge communication satellite to serve the needs of 10 countries in Southeast Asia, giving them better telephone communication and a much greater access to old black and white situation comedies from our TV programs in the 1950s. And in the bottom, you can see the base of a rocket inside the building. That is a Delta IV Heavy that will launch later this year, and that is pad 37. Thank you, Laura. Kind of behind the island, when you'll get off the bus, you'll see it better. Another set of 3 of those lightning towers. Those are pads 39A and B, and those are the only pads actually at Kennedy Space Center. They've had all human flight for the United States since December of 1968. They were built for the moon program. When that ended, we modified them, and for 30 years, all shuttle flights took off from those 2 pads. On the left-hand side, this is a building that was originally used for training Apollo astronauts. We even had an artificial moonscape out back. Now we have some of our top-notch technicians and engineers working on robotic equipment for deep space where we can't yet go with human beings. On the right, a test and training area. Even have a shaker platform where we can see if a new piece of equipment will stand up to the vibrations of the launch process. And we have cryogenics operations. Your little gator in the ditch right there. Yeah. And cryogenics, just super cold temperatures and high pressures to keep gases in liquid form. Okay, well, you got a little extra, and one of the things you must remember is what happens on tour stays on tour. All right. By an area like the size of just 1 star on the American flag. That's all the clearance we had. Shuttles, very different craft. We only had to open the doors about halfway. Now you'll see that the bottom sections of those doors open sideways, and then the upper sections stack clear up toward the roof. And in the bay nearest us, as we come back past the various things in our way, look inside and you'll see a slightly lighter gray object there. That is one of our 2 crawler transporters, and it is being upgraded, given greater power to handle the loads of the future. Here sticking up is a mobile launch platform as designed and used with the shuttles. It is sitting on its 6 support pedestals, and underneath is where the crawler would go in, lift that thing up, and move it into the building to assemble the shuttles. As we come up adjacent to it, look up underneath, and you'll see 3 big holes, one for the main engines and one for each of the boosters. We never had to bolt this thing down even during hurricane season. It sits on those pedestals weighing 9 million pounds. Through the use of better alloys that we've developed over the years, we only go up 2 million pounds. This is only an 11 million pound object sitting here on these pedestals. And again, once we get these storage units out, the crawler can go in and pick this thing up. Big semicircle cut out of the middle of it, which will be one of the support panels and activity panels in this particular area for the future. So you'll see how we have some doors open for ventilation, and you'll be able to peek in here at the bottom. Look around, see if you can find one of our workers just outside one of the doors. That gives a good sense of the real size of this building here. You can see how we managed to maintain our crawlerway here. Notice that highly sophisticated space-age equipment there, including the piece of chain link fence and an old railroad rail. And we're about to cross an old country road with grass growing up between the tread marks. This is the crawlerway. And the crawler straddles the grass strip, takes up both sides at the same time. That's a one-lane road. It's a one-way road as well, because nobody argues when the crawler's going one way. It's got its own way of going. People do wonder why a gravel road at this kind of sophisticated, highly advanced location. Sometimes the natural product is the best. On concrete or other surface such as that, those huge treads would slip and slide just a little bit, and it would make steering not as precise as we wanted. So we did some testing, and we came up with this Alabama River Rock, which had two very important qualities. Number one, it crushes enough to give a grip when the crawler comes through here. Number two, this one, when it crushes, does not give off sparks. And for some reason they thought having grease fires in the treads right under the rocket was not a real good idea. So we have a 15 to 20 centimeter, 6 to 8 inch layer of the river rock. Underneath that, 7 feet, so just over 2 meters of very carefully engineered fill. That was put down over 50 years ago. So as we get ready for a new program, we've been going up and down this with 18 million pounds regularly. Now we're going to be doing 22, 24 million pounds. Think we should check underneath? Okay, we took core samples, and what we have found is that it's stronger than it was 50 years ago. Why is it so far between the building and the launch pads? Early days we did some computations. The engineer said, yep, if one blows up on the pad, the fireball will reach out 3 miles, all directions. And they said, hey, let's build the vehicle assembly building 3.4 miles away. Okay, another mobile launch platform, but this time it is sitting on top of the second crawler. And you can see how the platform is wider so the crawler can drive between the pedestals and lift and lower. You see the 3 big pins that connect with the towers with the pedestals. And notice the driver's control box on the far front corner there. There is a second driver's control box on the opposite corner. We did not do U-turns. If we had to go the other way, the driver got out, walked halfway around, and steered from the other end. That's how I'd need this bus equipped if I were doing the bus driving. By the way, you did a nice turn back there, Laura. Each of the cleats, the shoes as they call them, each metal piece on those treads, 1 ton. These were designed and built for us by the Marion, Ohio Power Shovel Company. They were the low bidder, and we paid just about $1 a pound. No, over 6 million pounds. And they're hybrid vehicles, so that improves our fuel economy. We get 32 per gallon, 32 feet per gallon, which will carry bigger loads into space. Before this was SpaceX, it was shuttle, over 80 shuttle missions from here. And before that, it was for the Apollo. That was the original plan, the Apollo Saturn V. Think about this for just a moment. In the entire history of the human race, 12 people have walked on the moon. All 12 left Earth from this one launch pad here at Kennedy Space Center. The Falcon Heavy is going to take off with 4 million pounds of thrust. Just over half what we had with the Saturn V's. It took off with 7.6. And it created so much sound energy, it would enter the bedrock and be transmitted across the continent. Out in California, seismographs would record an earthquake for Florida. And that would have damaged tile on the shovel. So we added the water tower, 300,000 gallon tank up there, another 100,000 gallons in the pipes. Let's call it 1,500,000 liters. And we would dump all of that water on the launch pad and platform in 20 to 25 seconds at ignition. Not for cooling, but for sound suppression. The water, sound energy would convert sound energy into heat in the water, and we get a huge plume of steam. On the right, once again, pads 41, 40, and 37, and the large L-shaped object here at 41 is the swing arm for access to the Starliner that Boeing will be using on alternate trips to take our astronauts to and from the space station as well. The big orange tank had 2 compartments, and in the 6 to 8 hours before launch, we would pump a total of 2 million liters of those gases into the separate compartments, just over 500,000 gallons. We would use it up in 500 seconds. 8.5 minutes from 0 to 17,500 miles an hour. In fact, you could sometimes not use a stopwatch to time us, you might use a calendar. In fact, with no hunting or trapping on our property, wildlife tells us we have between 5,000 and 6,000 alligators at Kennedy Space Center. Nice addition to our security system there. These are flame deflectors. This is how they look after 50 uses with the shuttle program. And after committee meetings and analysis, we are opting to resurface and reuse rather than replace. These are going to be used in the new program as well. Tens of thousands of new products had to be developed for the space program, and out of those, over 30,000 are in everyday use. Not each of us using it every day, but it's there for us when we need it. Things like the self-cleaning oven that uses a coating from the Mercury program.
Coming up in 90 seconds, mark, T-minus 90 seconds and counting. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Warner, Jim Lovell, Bill Anders. Now we report that the liquid hydrogen tank in the fluid stage is pressurized. 1 minute 15 seconds. 12, 11, 10, 9. The engines are on. 4.
Look straight in the first tree and the top center of the tree. You have an excellent view of the bald eagle's nest.
Freedom in society. How could you have freedom when you have to pay to go to school and you don't have medical?
These words are very heavily used to manipulate culture. You know, when the President John Thompson says, we're going to go into Iraq.
different politicians in the halls of Congress. They did call me into the office, and I sat down in an interrogation room in the halls of Congress with all the main bureau chief heads from the corporate media networks, and they basically told me, you don't do that. You don't come in here and ruin our access that we've worked for decades to maintain. And that was my first lesson of how journalism actually worked in DC.
So imagine being stuck on an island with millions of dollars. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Well, unless you had the food, water, and material to build a shelter, you'd be destined for failure. So the real question isn't, do we have enough money? The real question is, do we have enough resources? With the technological capabilities of today, we have the capability to create a world of abundance and eliminate scarcity altogether.
So we are living in a time when science and technology are racing forward, but our social systems are static. What the Venus Project has to offer is a workable plan for social innovation using the methods of science and technology to enable everyone to live and enjoy the benefits of technology equally.
I've written theoretical articles in a variety of different journals. I've published 3 books. I'm invited to talk all over the world. I'm not bragging. I'm telling you that when I am in a conversation with somebody about human behavior and they ask my opinion, which is an educated opinion, I hazard to say, they frequently go, well, I don't agree with you. That I hope many of us share, and that is that the environment determines our behavior.
If you were brought up in China as a baby, you'd speak Chinese and walk like a Chinese girl, and you'd have your arms in your sleeves and you'd bow like a Chinese. You wouldn't know anything American. So whatever you see out there is normal to that culture. So I'm just telling you the truth. I'm trying to give you a cerebral enema. The thing I always take as a comforting effect.
Florida ringtail panther, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Alice.
Size guy must be having trouble finding food.
Yeah?
We ran all the way up the branch the other day, right after my finger hit me.
She's nice.
Alice, where's Alice?
Yeah, she's over here. This is Indonesian fish water. Sometimes this works. Look at this, guys. They're down there by the thousands. What are they? They're mud cats.
Yeah.
Catfish, Chinese variety. I'll give up my secret. I actually had a woman believe it was Indonesian fish water one time. And I had to go with it. I said, "You want to smell it?" She said, "Yeah." Oh. I said, I can't let you walk away thinking it was an Indonesian fish water.
Is this their spawning time or something?
No, they're in here. You know, some of the guys throw some cat food in there. that kind of stuff. They're kind of used to it.
How big are they?
About this big.
Yeah.
They're not the type you want to eat.
No.
No. I just fake them out with splashing the water.
Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, there they are.
This big group of plants here off the left corner of the boat, they call these pineapple air plants. They not only grow in these mangroves, but they grow in just about any tree. Scientific name for them is bromeliad, and they don't harm the trees in any way, shape, or form. All they do is adhere themselves to the branches, get everything they need to survive right out of the air. Now, two Saturdays ago, come up here and snatched a 4-foot python.
All right.
A few days before that, one of the other captains saw about an 8-footer in there.
Now, is this salt water or fresh water?
Brackish. Mixture of fresh and salt. These snakes are a big problem out here. Mainly stems from people buying them, raising them. They get too big for them to handle. Instead of giving them to a zoo or somebody knows what to do with them, they've been letting them go out in the Everglades. All they're doing is hurting the whole ecosystem out here.
Really?
No, they don't belong here. They don't have any natural predators. They eat anything and everything. We have areas to the east of us where they say in the last 12 years that 80% of the rabbits, raccoons, possums, armadillos, things like that is diminished because of these snakes. A friend of ours killed one that was 16.5 foot, had a 76-pound doe deer in it. It just swallowed.
Wow.
So that tells you right there they're eating anything and everything.